Hello everyone, today I would like to take a look at creating some slightly more complex import structures, which is actually required if you want to create some more complex Python applications which have many Python modules within them and compose your applications in a way that scales well. So let's begin by creating a file called run.py. This is the main file that kind of let's call it the client in a way, and I'll also create a folder called my module. This is the main module that we are going to be working with, and I'll also create a file called a.py, for example. Now inside a.py, I'll say print def a func, and I'll say print a func. Okay, and inside run.py, I'll say from my module import a, and I'll say a.a func, and that should work, right? So let's run this. Python run.py, and no, it doesn't work. No module named my module. Now, the reason why this is actually happening is because the Python interpreter does not recognize my module as actually being a module. The reason for this is because we need a special file inside the my module directory called init.py. So now we've created our __init__.py, and we'll run the same code, the exact same code, and now it works. So once again, this is really an important point to remember. We need the init.py file inside the directory if we want the directory to be recognized as being an actual module, or at least containing modules. So let's say, let's take the code from a.py, put it inside init.py, go back to our run, and now this time I'll simply say import my module, and I'm not saying, I'm not mentioning init here, I'm just really saying import, and that's a directory. And now I'll say my module a func, and also, once again, this actually works. So as you can see, not only do we require the init.py file for the directory to be recognized as containing modules, but init.py actually gets executed automatically when we import the folder my module as if it were a module. So that's already some interesting functionality. However, working like this is not particularly convenient because all your files end up being called init.py, which is really not practical when you're working, because you want to be able to invoke files by name. So a common way of dealing with this in Python is to keep our functionality inside the modules, inside the Python files that we actually want. So in this case, we'd keep our a-func definition inside a.py, and then we could actually import that file inside the init.py file. So we could say import hello, for example, and then from my module we would say import my module .hello.afunc. Let's see how this works. No module named hello. Because it's not called hello, my bad, it's called a. And there we go, now it works again. So within this module, my module, init.py got executed automatically, which imports a, which is therefore here, and we're then capable of calling a func. Let's look at some slightly different configurations. I know it's quite boring, but it's really interesting to actually understand how this works. Let's just print to see actually what's going on. Let's say print importing a, and here we'll say print importing init, and let's see what happens. Importing a, importing init, and finally a func. So by run.py, by saying import my module, this actually imports the init, which imports a, which is why we're seeing import a, importing init, a.func. And what happens if we don't import my module? Let's import A directly. We'll say from my module import A. Now, what's happening in this case? Are we actually importing A directly, or are we importing init? When I run this, we get exactly what we had earlier, importing A, importing init, so we're still not sure. Let's actually remove this line, and now we get the same thing, just in a different order. So what actually happened here? From run.py, we're importing A, and therefore that calls importing A here, but the first thing that got executed was still init. So this is still being run, and actually it's being run first. So when doing import my module, we begin by importing init, but since A is above, it actually then calls A, and it says import A and then import init. So really that's just the order in which things are happening here. If I put this here, then we'll get the same thing as before. So let's create some more directories. Let's create a folder called B and a folder called C as well. And same as before, we'll create some init files. New file, init.py, init.py, and we'll also create a file called bmodule and a file called cmodule as well, cmodule.py. Okay, so inside bmodule we'll simply have def bfunc print bfunc, and inside our C module we'll have cfunc. And as before, we'll simply say import b C module and import b module. And now inside our initial init, we'll simply say, okay, that imports A, and inside a.py, this time I'll actually call afunc, and I'll say from b import b module, and I'll say from C import C module, and now I'll say b module.bfunc C module.cfunc. And this, and now it says afunc, bfunc, cfunc. So I think you can see how we can begin to compose our Python applications. We can save the various code or various functionality into these different files and scale properly. Hopefully we can use some design patterns or something that kind of makes graying our code a little bit more sane. But at least this is how you would go about saving your code inside various files to compose your Python applications properly. So this is a very, very brief overview of the import system. But I think it starts to give you a kind of idea of how you'd go about saving things and importing them in for some sane composed Python development. Thanks for your attention, and I'll see you in the next video.